Hello, hello, hello. Making a green Play-Doh video. This is such an amazing substance. This is yet a different company with slightly different characteristics. But it's also amazing. It smells so amazing, like peach. So gorgeous. I'm not making any penises. Just Play-Doh. That's all it is. Non-sexual Play-Doh. Yeah, that's what it is. It's very good. It's good for the hands to be molding like this, netting like this. It's good hand exercise for the hand muscles and the joints and everything for anyone out there. And for older people, I recommend this. It's very good to do. And it feels to me, it's just like spa treatment. Feels like relaxation. It's really awesome. This is coming along. It's coming slowly, gradually along. This is my lawn and here I can put a tree on it. Oh, okay. I can make something right now for it. I can make a tree for this. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a tree out of this. I'm gonna be painting it afterwards anyway because. And now I also have quick seal caulking, which is much better for filling in the cracks when it cracks as it dries. So I already have one palm tree in my in vitro meat plant collection, but I'm gonna make another tree. So let me see. I'm gonna make another tree right now for that lawn. Made a video yesterday for my other channel, Kenny Redwood, Animal Lovers, and that's because I took the other tablet with me to the other house, which has the Jiddu Krishnamurti recordings on it. That's why I take that one, and that one is hooked up to Kenny Redwood Animal Lovers Support Group. So, but that's okay. It's okay to have two channels and make a video for the other one once in a great while. That's good to do. And I have my other computer there, my old Microsoft I have at the other house now, because I have to make space here. I had to bring a bunch of stuff to the other house. I'm also gonna bring this table to the other house because that table is easy to carry in and out of the garage. I can sometimes, when the weather is right, I can make artwork on that table outside, which is nice because I like to have light from all sides and from the top in particular. It's very nice. And eventually we're gonna be setting up a tent greenhouse at the other house on that cemented area. And I'm going to put that table in there and a chair and be working in there. That's going to be awesome. So that will give me an idea how it's like to be making artwork in a dome house that is just a glass structure, which is my dream for the future. I want to have a very wonderful glass structure like the one that Jeff Bezos has for his company in Washington. And it's awesome because, it's very cutting edge, it's very futuristic, it's very green, and he saves a lot of money in electricity with that. So this is pretty, see, this is what's going on. There's a palm tree. It looks also a little bit like a Joshua tree and like one of those incredible needle trees that have like really, really sharp lance-like needles. There's one here on a property that's for sale. They look amazing, those trees. I wonder if they are if they're not native, they might be from further south. So I'm also working on several projects, art projects at the other house as well, and I just finished one yesterday, and it was awesome. Finished another piece. It's nice to make art, really nice. You can have all these other things fall away when you make art, including the self-image and the self-idea and the self-representation. That falls away when we make art, and that brings me to the very subject. Thomas Metzinger, I'm reading his book right now. I have that book in Kindle, my Kindle book collection, and have that saved in the Microsoft computer at the other house. So when I'm there, I read in my books. And right now, I am little by little reading that book, The Ego Tunnel by Thomas Metzinger, who is a major, major sought after celebrity in among the futurists, among the AGI promoters and AGI robotics scientists. And they all want to interview him and talk to him, and he has very little time, talking, getting all that mail from all these crazy fans from around the world, including myself. So, but I would love to talk to Thomas Metzinger about ethics and find out more what he actually, what his understanding is of ethics, and whether he would like to, like myself, eliminate all suffering worldwide into all infinity. So that is my question to him. Do you want to eliminate all suffering? That is what I want to do. If I can, if I could, I'll do whatever I can to eliminate suffering in the world. Awesome. I'm fascinated about these subjects: consciousness, meditation, dissolution of self. Those are my subjects. Jonathan Mese talks about it as well, the artist Jonathan Mese. He says he's also a philosopher, of course, because I really see him as a philosopher. And he says that art comes first. Art is universal. It comes before the self. It comes before any kind of self-image and the me and whatever the ego does, our psychological defense mechanism does in order to protect us. It means well, but it does stand in the way of compassion for a lot of people. I think it's good to use examples for this to make this more understood. In which way does the ego stand in the way of compassion? Okay, I have to use an example. Let me use a real significant example here. The Dalai Lama, this is an old subject of mine. The Dalai Lama has become, that's what I heard, okay, has become a neuroscientist. If this is wrong information, please correct me, but this is what I read and heard many times. So he studied neuroscience, from what I heard, in the United States, and he is actually now working as a scientist in the field of neuroscience, neurology, and neuro computational and self model, and in the same direction as Thomas Metzinger, as he is doing work as a scientist also in this field, same field. Okay. And also that Professor John Allen Hobson, whom I criticized in my last video, which I have uploaded onto the other channel. I looked him up today. I only remembered Hobson, so I looked him up. And so eventually he came up, and he's like 85 years old, and he looks kind of friendly in all of this. But the way he talked in that interview with Thomas Metzinger, that didn't appear very friendly. It appeared kind of bullyish and very speciesist, and he thinks he has the right to test on animals and do all of this, and then he justifies it by saying he's doing it for the greater good or humanity, and he not just said greater good, but I think he said that too, but he also said for humans, for making it better for humans. And so that's very speciesist, to exploit animals to make it better for humans. That's real wrong, okay? And there's a lot of people guilty of that, whole lot of people, thousands of people worldwide that are exploiting animals in the name, in the outwardly, in the name of finding better interventions and cures and so on. But it's all unethical, all of it. And some people not only say this outwardly, they actually only say it outwardly. They actually do it for other reasons too. And And I don't even want to think about this. This there's a whole, and I talked to animal rights activists about this, and they confirmed this what I've already suspected, that apparently there's an entire industry now of research, using a research project to legally cause harm onto another living being, because those people have a sadistic streak and they want to live that out. This is actually happening in the world, and it's highly disturbing. There are some real sick people in this world. Real sick. Real damaged. My husband will get mad at me and he'll say, these people are not damaged, they are bad genetically. Okay, they have not been damaged. So whether it is genetically a genetic dysfunction, that is how they came into the world with, or whether it is because they have been damaged by their parents and have been made into sadistic monsters, or whether they have a brain injury that causes this. There could be all kinds of things, or the abuse of hallucinogenic drugs can also cause that, so it's very dangerous. But whatever the case is, actually, it's kind of like a secondary conversation. It's really, to me personally, that's why, if I was a lawyer, I would never work as a defense lawyer. I would only defend the animals, because it doesn't matter what causes someone to be cruel and brutal, raping animals or little children or whatever causes them to do that. It doesn't matter. It's that person is a dangerous individual, and they're not, and their actions are not good for their own systems either, because, and that goes much deeper into metaphysics. I'm not going to get into this now because that's like another subject by itself. But they're not even making their own health or lives better by doing this. Quite the opposite. It causes them even more suffering and even more emptiness. I talked to a woman who had revealed this also to me and confirmed that, a woman who had been in an industry where she was as a as an escort, where she has hurt clients, humans, men, to be correct. So, the dominatrix business type of thing. So, and she confirmed that also. So she confirmed that it did not feel good. It didn't energetically, physically. She did it to make money, but it's not the best choice for your own health to get into something like this. And I could never do this. I had a boyfriend once, he asked me to bite his nipples. And there was also absolutely no way I would pursue this encounter, this, I couldn't even call it a relationship, but I could never even pursue this acquaintanceship or whatever, so date, maybe. It was a very sick date, and a sick man, and I almost cried. I said, why do you want women to do this? He doesn't know, because it's totally unconscious. It's an unconscious thing. He has been abused. This is obvious that he has been abused, that he wants to have that done, and that somehow links itself into the sexual hormonal cycle. And I told him I can't do that. You know, I cannot hurt someone, even if they wanted me to do it, even if that made them happy, which it doesn't, but you know, even if that's what they said, even if that's what I believed, I couldn't do it because I can't hurt anyone unless they're a threat. So I can't do it. And I can't hurt an innocent being. And so I could never have a boyfriend like this. Like, ugh, it's incredibly awful. And I felt sorry for him. I didn't know how to help him. I tried to talk to him about this, but it's like completely unconscious about all of this. And also didn't seem like he wanted to become conscious about it, because I think it must have been something in his childhood that he would rather keep unconscious. So I feel terribly sorry for those people, but my message to them is in this regard, it is better to become conscious, even if it hurts. Become conscious about what's going on and why this is happening, what happened in the past. It's important that we do this. We also have a responsibility to do this, also for ourselves and for others, because when we become conscious, we can help others later on that have suffered or suffering from the same things. So this entire sadomaso type of society, you know, they're even standing up for their rights, just as the psychopaths will petition for the rights of psychopaths, which I've seen. You know, it's amazing, you know, because they cannot see it from the other person's perspective. You know, they go like, the poor psychopaths, or the poor people who have been abused. Now they're just doing this because they have been abused. Now we should let them out on parole. Yes, then we're endangering in other innocent beings in the process. But uh, and there's a lot of hardcore people who are petitioning for the rights of severely dangerous, violent criminals. I could never do something like this. I feel sorry for them, but I also feel sorry for their victims. And I don't want them to create more victims. All of this ties into this subject, ethics. and so, and the people who hurt animals, as in neuroscience or science in general, science in biology in general, you know, whether they do it for to create cures or interventions, or you know, which is I don't see it as much better, or I don't see it as better or more legitimate than them doing it as a means of butcher tourism, like the sado industry or something, letting it out on animals. So um, that certainly is the worst. But using the excuse of I'm doing this to come up with a cure for someone, that's not that's not acceptable. To cure someone on cost of animals suffering horrifically? No, sorry, no. It wouldn't matter what health problem I have. I would not want an animal to suffer to come up with a cure for my health problem. Sorry, no, this is not right. And so that's my ethical, philosophical standpoint, my vantage point, okay? And I want to share this with other people. I want to I want to convey that message because it is the message of love, of compassion. we need to become more skeptical. We need to question authorities more and not be so mesmerized by someone like the Dalai Lama, who just happened to be this world celebrated monk. What has he done? He has turned his back on Sea Shepherd, told the Japanese government that Sea Shepherd needs to be stopped because the Japanese people in the government talked him into it to say that, because they presented their point of view from a very biased point of view, and slandered Sea Shepherd and all of this. So then the Dalai Lama turns his back on Sea Shepherd. That's not peacemaking. That's not making the world a better place. Who knows what is all involved, better public relations on cost of the animals, on cost of the people who are trying to save the animals, who are actually doing something, who are actually trying to make the world a better place. Yeah. So keep all of this in mind. When you read certain information articles, when you hear debates, when you hear people talking about these things, keep ethics in mind and not your popularity or how you're standing in society, or what your girlfriends think of you, or all of these types of things. But keep ethics in mind. How does this, what they're saying, affect the world? How does that affect the animals? How are they suffering from this? That's what we need to look at, and not anything else. And that Professor Hobson being total defense of animal exploitation, animal testing for neurology and neuroscience. Or people will defend animal testing so that they can come up with a cure for aging. I'm sorry, I'd rather become a real shriveled up grandmother and look horrible and abhorrent, if because I could never ever handle and stand it to take a youth drug that has been tested on animals, or the chemicals in the process of making them have been tested on animals and made them suffer. Or just not, even if the product itself didn't make them suffer, it has been tested on animals that are exploited in cages, that live in cages, never ever see sunlight or green grass. I don't want to have any part of that. And that's also why I said, and I told Liz Parrish on Facebook about this, and never heard any kind of reply, because she's into the farmer drugs. I think she's even a vegetarian, and she said some things about animal welfare and stuff like this, and that it's better for the animals. But then she's doing this, I don't know if she is testing on animals, but she most likely is, because she is into the farmer business. So, and I sent her my book, and she never responded to it. My health book, the health book that I wrote, and where I said that I have found an herb that does rejuvenation, that keeps you younger for much longer. I could see it, I tested that on myself, and I accidentally overdosed on that in 2013. And after I did that, I noticed that right away, the next day, the skin on my arm, the cells were much more structured and much smoother. So, but they don't want to hear about it because with an herb, they can't patent it, they can't make money on it. So in the end, it is always for their greed, for their income, for them making a lot of money, becoming rich, seeing their opportunity with this. I'm talking about these people in general. I'm not being personal against anyone in person, just saying this as this is a general thing happening. Not slandering anyone. This is a very serious subject, needs to be discussed, and we have the right to say something about it. Very important that we do. Very, very critically important that each person says something. And so my message to Thomas Metzinger is, this is how I see it, this is my message, this is my love message for the world, and I hope you share that with me. I hope you see it like that as well. I hope that you do not support someone like that Hobson, who says that he needs to exploit animals. He didn't say, of course he didn't use the word exploit. He said he thinks he said he needs to test on animals. That's how he said it. For helping, coming up with a cure or something. And I hope that you do not buy into this, into that lie, because that's not ethical. That's not the message of the Buddha to do what the Dalai Lama is doing. He's completely contradicting the message of the Buddha. Sri Krishnamurti was the reincarnation of Gautama Buddha. Okay. I'm listening to them right now. And Sri Krishnamurti said that he didn't talk about animal. I never heard him talk about that subject. I would really love to know if there's a recording ever done where he talks about that subject. But I listened to many of those recordings, and in one of them, he talks to Dr. Alan W. Anderson from Cal State San Diego in around 1975 about the subject of the Canadian seal clubbing. And he said that he could cry over this. So for him, and coming from his era and all of this, where people didn't talk about these things, that was very revolutionary. And I noticed that the people he did talk to, they didn't even want to get into that subject. They were kind of shocked that he said that, and they were kind of afraid to get into that subject and say something. It's kind of like what happened to me on Facebook when I said that if you are a feminist, then please stand with me on these statements that we don't want religion, and in particular, not violent religions. But, you know, nobody, I mean, very few people gave me thumbs up. Very few women did. Men didn't at all. And no one wanted to be seen as commenting under those posts. Made me very sad. This was also one of the reasons why I quit Facebook, is I saw the incredible cowardness of people and the fear of social rejection when they put that above anything else. Makes me very sad, makes me cry, and I have cried some for the last couple of weeks about this, and sometimes I cried for many hours at the time over it, sobbing and sobbing and sobbing with a lot of tears and snot. And when I hear someone finally, like Jiddu Krishnamurti, saying he could cry what they're doing to those innocent beings on the ice, clubbing these innocent baby seals, and then no person says anything, or it's like 1% of humans that will say something about this. Why? What's going on here? These things need to be addressed. All of this needs to be addressed. What's going on in our brains? What's going on in people's brains? Why are they hesitating to say something, to speak out for the animals? What's going on? Become aware of your own inner processes, your own fears, your own social fears, and so on. Become aware of it. Become aware of the fact that we need to put the self, the, the, the idea of self, the idea of me versus others, we need to put that aside. We need to put all of the fear. All the mental illness is based on ego. It's an ego agonization, an ego escalation is what that is. Dissolve that, and that will also dissolve the mental illness and the fears and the social fears and everything. The well-being of other beings is more important than our petty self-images and social acceptance, or whether a girlfriend likes you or not. If a girlfriend doesn't like you because you are a Sea Shepherd member, then that is not the right woman for you. It's as simple as that. No matter how good she looks. And if you put the looks above ethics, then you are not acting responsibly, and you're not acting out of love, and you're not acting out of compassion. Then your actions are unethical. Turn that around and become an ethical person. And I see so many people, they are running around amok with their with this idea, with this thinking, like they are now on the right bandwagon, and yes, into consciousness and all of this. And then I would talk to them and find out that they are not conscious. They are not ethical. No. But they think they are. And then it hurts real bad, then that the realization comes, oh, they haven't been acting ethically, they haven't been acting consciously. They have not listened to the Buddha, even though many of them are adherents of the Buddha. But they made it into a religion, thus bypassing the message of the Buddha. Religion is not ethics. You make this thing into a religion, you've bypassed the message of it. The message is infinite love for all living beings. People think they're not religious, but they didn't pay attention. Religion comes through all kinds of back doors and side doors without people even noticing it. All kinds of things can become a religion. Religion is always fascism. Their methods count as other people's methods don't count. Their methods are, regarded as good, other people's thoughts are disregarded. They don't even want to listen to them. That's fascism. That's extreme intolerance. I encourage people to get into dialogues with other people, not into violent, forceful debates, but into dialogues. You share your thoughts with someone else, and you tell them why you see it like this and why you don't see the other thing as valuable. You say why, then you give the other person the chance to do the same thing. The moment a person becomes verbally abusive, he not only has lost the dialogue, he has made himself the unempowered person. He's made himself into the disruptive person, and he ended the dialogue with that. He rudely ended it. It's like hanging up the phone, saying something rude and disrespectful and hurtful, bullying someone or insulting someone. So we need to be in open-minded dialogues. We need to share our views with other people. We need to grant other people their own views, not force your view onto someone else, no matter how true your view is. I'm not forcing my view on others. I'm not putting the gun on anyone's head. I'm offering my view that I know is coming from compassion. Okay? I offer it to the world. What people do with it, that I cannot control. I'm not controlling it. I'm offering my philosophy. You do the same. Okay? You become aware. You do meditation. Don't do this proving to me or to someone else that your religion is validated or whatever. No, that's not intellectually honest. Intellectual honesty is going deeply into meditation. I'm upstairs, yes. Okay. Deep introspection, deep meditation, breathing, deeply breathing, always through the abdomen as if you breathe through the belly and up. And back out the same way. Make art, write things down. Introspect that's the most important thing. And then the truth will be visible. It will be there. You don't yet need the truth from me. I'm just sharing this to remind you that you can do it. You can meditate, you can introspect, and then the truth will be there. Sometimes it shows up in a dream. There was a guy from Pakistan on Facebook who I met in the technology groups, and he's very interested in all of this, what the Western world has to offer, including the philosophy, including the thoughts, including ethics. And so he finally he had a dream about me. I'm not going to say what the dream was, but I thought it was very touching. So apparently that what I have been writing to him was not falling on deaf ears. It was worked on inside of his brain, by his brain, through the dream process. It was processed. That's why dreaming is also very important. Dreaming during sleep, very, very important. Critically important for our health. People who drink alcohol or take substances, they don't dream properly. And when they don't dream properly, they can become very mentally ill, even schizophrenic. We need to dream in our sleep. We need